Do you recall if you were drinking at all?
No.
Do you recall if the defendant was drinking?
No.
Do you recall if Jack or Tyler were drinking?
I think they were drunk, but I don't recall if they continued drinking at that point.
And how long would you say you stayed at Trumbull High School for?
About 25 minutes maybe, or 30.
And at some point, did you leave the parking lot at Trumbull High School?
Yes.
Who got back into withdrawn? And did you get back into Jack's vehicle?
Yes.
Who else got back into Jack's vehicle to leave Trumbull High School?
The same kids as before. Should I go through them?
Nope, that's okay. Now, when you got back into Jack's car, where were you sitting at that point?
I was, I think, still sitting in the second row.
Were you on Lito's lap?
I don't recall.
Do you recall who was sitting in the passenger seat?
Tyler Da Silva.
And the individual sitting next to you in the back row, do you recall who those individuals were?
I can recall Will Sinjwald. I'm not sure about the other boys where they were sitting exactly.
Do you recall if anyone was in the trunk of the vehicle?
Maybe one kid. Once
know?
again, I don't know which one.
Now, you got back in the vehicle. At that point, where did you think you were going?
Home.
And why did you think that?
If you live in Shelton, we were about to pass the reservoir, which was towards my house.
Did you indicate to Jack that you wanted to go home at that point?
Yes.
Now, at some point, withdrawn. Did Jack take you home at that moment?
No.
At some point while you were in the vehicle, were you made aware that some boys in the car were part of a texting chain or a texting conversation?
It was mentioned. I didn't know who was in it or what was going on in it.
Were you part of that texting chain?
No.
And how did you become aware that there was a texting chain going on?
It must have been mentioned at one point in the car. I think I just noticed that we had changed route. I think someone must have sent a text message in that group chat, and that's how I was aware.
Now, what was the atmosphere and the vibe in the car at this point? Once the texting chain had developed and you indicated that you were made aware of it, explain and describe what the vibe was in the car.
I definitely could tell that the vibe had changed. I was close to being home, and then it seemed like in an instant the boys were set on going to Tyler Rich's house.
Now, how did you become aware, withdrawn, are you familiar with Tyler Rich?
Yes.
And how do you know Tyler Rich?
I was good friends with him growing up. He was in my friend group, and I've been to his house a ton of times.
Did you attend schools with Tyler Rich?
Yes.
Other than high school?
Yes.
And you said you just indicated you've been to his house a ton of times?
To a bunch of his parties and hangouts.
Now, how did you become aware that you were going to Tyler Rich's house?
I just remember being close to my home, and I remember then taking a left towards Isinglass rather than going straight back. So I knew that we had changed direction.
So is it fair to say at some point you thought you were going home, you thought you were being dropped off at home? That did not occur because did you actually pass your street?
No.
But the car diverted to another direction.
Yes, and the two boys in the front had made it known that they were now going to Tyler's house.
Okay. So without obviously going into what they said, you became aware that that's where you were going.
Yes.
Do you recall hearing anything from Lito at that point regarding going to Tyler Rich's house or going to fight anyone, anything to that effect?
I don't remember him saying anything, but I had objected multiple times to us going, and he didn't stand up for me or say anything in that regard. I didn't want to go to Tyler Rich's house.
Why didn't you want to go to Tyler Rich's house, Mackenzie?
Because I grew up in Shelton, and a bunch of people who I was friends with, I knew would probably be at that party. So it seemed as if there was some type of confrontation going on between them, and I knew I didn't want to be a part of it.
Do you recall the address of Tyler Rich's house offhand?
Laurel Glen, I'm not sure what number.
And was there anyone in particular in the vehicle that was pushing going to Tyler Rich's house more so than anyone else?
I would say that Jack Snyder and Tyler Da Silva in the front were pushing it. Jack was one driving, and I had pleaded with him multiple times that I wanted to go home, and it seemed like he was adamant about going.
On the way to Tyler Rich's house, who, if anyone, did you have contact with on your phone?
As soon as I was made aware that they were now headed to Tyler Rich's house, I had texted my sister and I had asked her to pick me up from Tyler Rich's house.
And why did you do that?
I knew I didn't want to be at Tyler Rich's house. I didn't want to be anywhere near his house. A lot of the people there were my friends, so I didn't want to get involved.
Based on the conversation you heard in the car, as well as just your overall gut feeling, did you know something something bad was gonna happen in going to that house?
I assumed it wasn't going to be friendly. I assumed it was going to be some type of confrontation.
Now, at some point, did you arrive at Tyler Rich's house?
Yes.
Now, Mackenzie, if you can look, if I just may approach the witness, Your Honor. Mackenzie, this is state's, I think it's 52. Yes, state 52. In this exhibit, are you able to show the jury, and there is a pointer there, where Jack Snyder parked his vehicle once arriving at Tyler's house? If you can't, in this exhibit, I can show you another exhibit.
Assuming that this is his driveway, I think we were parked facing that way, right there.
So the message is talking about the witnesses using a pointer to point to the bottom half of state 52 and directed her pointer over to the right-hand side of the exhibit as well.
Right, that'll be reflected on the record, thank you.
Mackenzie, I am going to show you another exhibit. This is exhibit 49. You can look on your screen there. So this is a more pulled back picture of State 52. If you could describe in State 49 where Jack Snyder pulled up to Tyler Rich's house on that day. If you could just use your words to describe it. You can't point on the screen, it doesn't show up on them.
I remember he had pulled up probably near the driveway.
Okay, so I'm going to use this pen here. You're indicating that Jack Snyder pulled his vehicle up around this area?
Yes.
Okay. Was it directly in front of the driveway, or was it more to the right-hand side? Was it back more? And you can stop me with my pen.
I would say closer to the driveway.
So maybe around this area?
Yes.
Okay. Let the record reflect, Your Honor, that the state is pointing to the middle to bottom portion of the exhibit towards the driveway of State 49.
Court will reflect the information on the record, thank you.
Now, when you arrived, Mackenzie, can you explain to the members of the jury what you saw initially? And what I mean by that is, did you seek anyone out on the road? Did you see anyone out on the front lawn of 43 Laurel Glen? What did you observe?
Before we had pulled up to the house, I had climbed over the back seat and hidden in the trunk. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be there. So I don't remember seeing who or anyone in the crowd. I would say I maybe remember one or two people coming up towards the back, and someone even said hi to me.
When you got into the trunk of Jack's car, who, if anyone, was in the trunk with you?
Either Keenan or Dimitri. I'm not sure which one.
Back of the trunk, was there windows in the trunk of the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall sitting on items in the back of the trunk? Were there other items in the trunk that you were sitting on because there wasn't enough room?
I think there was probably some items around that I just was sitting over.
Were you able to see out the back of the trunk area? Meaning, was there a window out the back of the trunk?
I don't remember looking out the back of the trunk, so.
So you indicated you were able to see a few people. When Jack pulled up, did you initially see anyone, or was there a moment in time that passed before people started coming out of the house and approaching the car?
It seems like there had been a group that formed outside, maybe. The one or two people that I saw was because I think they came up to the back window in the second row and then looked back, and I was kind of in the trunk.
Now, do you know if anyone from your vehicle alerted on the texting chat that you had arrived?
I have no idea.
Now, when you saw these one or two individuals that you just indicated come up to the car, did you recognize them?
Yes.
And who did you recognize them as?
I remember, at the least, I remember Faison coming up to me.
Did you have interaction with Faison?
Yes, it seemed friendly.
Okay. And were any windows rolled down in the Honda Pilot that you were in?
The driver one and the one that Faison came in and said hi to me.
The one that Faison came in to say hi to you, was that the one that Lito was sitting closest to, or either Keenan or Will that you indicated were sitting closer to?
I'm not sure.
When he came over to you, and without telling anyone what he said, were you able to hear him through the open window?
When he acknowledged me, I heard him, yeah.
And when he acknowledged you, did you respond back to him?
Yeah.
And what did you say?
I think I just said hi back.
How do you know Faison?
I didn't know him too well, but he went to my schools, so I knew him through, middle school and maybe intermediate school.
Do you know his last name?
No.
Now, if you can explain to the members of the jury from what you can remember, did any additional people come out of Tyler Rich's house and approach the vehicle?
It seemed like at one point, somebody from the outside had approached the driver's seat window, so Jack Snyder, and it seemed like there was maybe some type of confrontation going on there.
When you say that, what did you hear? What did you observe as far as you terming it a confrontation?
I didn't hear anything specific that stood out. It just seemed that maybe they were arguing back and forth through the window.
Withdrawn. At some point, no, withdrawn. Did you see anyone throwing anything at the vehicle that you were in? Was anything thrown from the vehicle that you were in back out onto the lawn or at individuals from Tyler Rich's house? Do you remember any of that?
I don't remember seeing anyone outside throwing anything, just because I was kind of hidden a little bit, but I do remember hearing a bunch of noises coming, maybe banging on the car or something like that.
Do you recall the car being rocked at all? Do you recall anyone standing on the bumper of the car and moving the car at all?
I don't recall.
When you were in the trunk, Mackenzie, you just indicated that you were kind of hiding. Were you almost laying down in the back of the trunk?
I think so, yeah.
Did you hear Lito saying anything to anyone during that interaction at all?
No.
Do you recall how long that interaction occurred between the kids from Tyler Rich's house and the individuals in your vehicle?
No more than a couple minutes.
And what, if anything, happened next that you can recall?
I remember it seemed like things were being thrown at the car, so there was a little chaos there, and then we just immediately started driving down the street.
Do you remember anyone telling Jack to drive off?
No.
Now, when you say went down the street, I'm going to direct your attention to states. May I first witness, Your Honor? State 1, Mackenzie, you can use that pointer again. So this is the area, Lower Glen, Farmhouse Lane, as well as Adams Drive. This little red dot here in front of state 1 is 43 Lower Glen. Can you indicate to members of the jury where you indicate Jack Snyder drove his car down?
We were parked right here, and he drove this way.
So down Laurel Glen Drive, towards Farmhouse Lane. If your pointer is now, are you indicating where we're drawn? At some point, did Jack Snyder stop the vehicle down the Laurel Glen Drive?
So he had originally stopped it right here.
Okay. Did he only go down Laurel Glen Drive once and stop, or did he drive back and forth several times?
I don't remember him driving back.
So it's your recollection that he drove down once and stopped on Laurel Glen?
Yes.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness is pointing to the area on Laurel Glen Drive, say, three-fourths down the street on Laurel Glen, right before 36 Laurel Glen Drive.
All
right, that'll be reflected on the record, thank you.
Now, Mackenzie, you had indicated just now that Jack had stopped his vehicle about 3/4 down the road on Laurel Glen Drive. Why did he stop his vehicle? Do you recall saying something to him to make him stop his vehicle? To your knowledge, why did he stop his vehicle?
I believe me, at least, wanted to get out of the vehicle.
Okay. Did you tell him to stop his vehicle?
I'm not sure. I must have said something yeah.
Did you tell him you wanted to get out? What was your demeanor at that point? Were you crying? Were you yelling? Were you screaming? Explain to the members of the jury.
I was very upset that we had gone there in the first place. I guess I was angry that we were there.
Do you recall crying at all?
No.
Who were you angry with?
Mainly, I was angry that Lito hadn't, stood up and said, let's not go there, because I was objecting a lot in the car. And then I was also angry with Jack Snyder and Tyler because they also knew that I didn't want to go.
You just wanted to go home?
Yes.
Now, you indicated earlier to the members of the jury you were in the trunk of the vehicle. At some point, did you get out of Jack Snyder's car?
Yes.
And how did you describe how you got out? Did you pop open the trunk? Did you jump over seats? How did you get out of the vehicle?
When the car came to a stop, I crawled over the seat and I got out of the side door, and I immediately walked to the end of the road and sat on the curb.
At some point, did other people also get out of the vehicle?
I think I think they did.
Do you know who got out?
I'm not sure exactly who at that point in time got out.
I'm going to be showing you State's Exhibit, State's 44. You can view this on the screen you have in front of you. I'm just going to play this through, okay? Mackenzie, did you see yourself getting out of that vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, and can you indicate to the members of the jury what you saw yourself doing in State's 44?
I got out of the car and my arms were crossed, I think because I was mad, and I just walked to the end of the street and sat down. I was facing the opposite way.
Can I have that pointer, Mackenzie? Mackenzie, in pointing to State's 44, I'm going to direct your attention. You can look on this big screen here. Pointing here, is that you sitting on the curb there?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall at this point if anyone else in State's 44 in this vehicle here, this is Jack Snyder's vehicle, if anyone else got out at that point?
At that moment, I was alone at the end of the road, so maybe they got out.
Now, from your recollection that night, you don't recall anyone else getting out because you just indicated you were sitting on the curb. What were you doing when you were sitting on the curb? Demonstrate to members of the jury what you were doing physically.
I had gotten to the curb and I called my sister Madison, and I was just making sure that she was on her way to pick me up and just asking her her ETA.
Were you looking around? Did you have your head in your hand, your head in your hands? Were you slumped over at all? Explain to members of the jury what you were doing.
Yeah, I was slumped over, kind of just on my phone in a little bubble, calling her, texting her.
I'm going to direct your attention again to State's 44. If you can look at the rest of the video, Mackenzie. Mackenzie, pointing to State's 44, you see these two individuals here? I don't know if you can see. So this individual here, as well as this individual here, do you know who those two individuals are that just got out the vehicle?
Can you replay it one more time, please?
Sure. referring to States 44, those two individuals that just got out of the vehicle, you're walking down towards the curb, you sit down. Do you know who those two individuals are?
I believe the one coming out of the driver's seat is Tyler Da Silva, and the other one, maybe Lito.
Now, Mackenzie, you see here in States 44 that you're sitting on the curb here, right? At some point, do you leave that curb area? Can you recall if you left that curb area and went to a different curb or a different area of the street?
I don't recall. I remember being on a curb.
Is it possible you left that curb area and went somewhere else?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for
I'll withdraw
speculation.
it. Now, Mackenzie, at some point when you were sitting in that curb area or a different curb area, did you see anyone from Shelton High School approach?
I didn't see anyone come up and approach me.
And when I say Shelton High School, I mean the individuals from 43 Laurel Glen from Tyler's party. Do you recall anyone approaching you or approaching that area?
No, not me. I did recall maybe some noise coming from behind me. I hadn't looked over, and I was on my phone, so I don't remember who.
So you had indicated earlier before we played States 44 that you were on your phone and you were contacting who again?
My sister.
And what were you saying to your sister at that point?
I had already texted her before we even arrived to Tyler's house. As soon as the direction changed, I had texted her saying that I was going to need a ride from Tyler's house. So when I had called her, when I got out of the car, I was just making sure that she was on her way there.
Now, Mackenzie, you saw yourself get out of Jack's vehicle. At some point, either simultaneously to when you were getting out of the vehicle or prior to, did you hear anything about a knife being talked about?
I don't remember in the car. I don't think that was the case. I remember at one point, maybe when I was getting out and leaving the area, I heard someone say something about a knife.
Do you know who that was?
I'm not sure.
And did it alarm you when you heard this information about a knife?
I didn't really even, I overlooked it completely. I just didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything would have happened with a knife.
So you heard talk of a knife. You don't know if it was the defendant who said it or anyone else in the vehicle.
Yes.
Do you know how close you were to that conversation you heard about a knife? Do you know if it was when you were getting out of the vehicle? Do you know it was when you were standing by the vehicle? Do you have any recollection of when you heard it?
I believe it was I think it was when I was walking away. I don't remember the conversation being had. I don't remember what they had been talking about.
At any point when you were sitting on that curb, did you see Lito?
At one point, the boys that were in the car had walked down to the end of the street where I was sitting. I had offered all of them rides home, and including Lito, I offered him a ride home. So I saw him at that moment.
So when you say all the boys, Lito walked down there, Jack Snyder walked down there. Oh, well, withdrawn. Did Jack Snyder walk down there as well?
I don't know.
Okay. Tyler Da Silva walked down there. Keenan Frasick walked down there. Will Sinjwal walked down there. And Demetrios Arfanis walked down there.
Yes.
And what did you offer them?
I told them that my sister would be there in a couple minutes, and anybody who wanted to leave could get into my car, and I would drive them home.
And you told all of them that? Every single person that I just indicated?
Yes, I told all of them. 3 of them accepted the offer. Will, Keenan, and Dimitri. They sat down on the curb with me, and then I also offered to the other 2 boys, and they were adamant about not coming with me.
So they did not want to go with you and your sister and leave the area?
Yes.
When you say adamant, how were they acting?
They seemed like they were getting hyped up a little bit. I felt like I was begging at one point for them to just not go back down there. My sister's going to be here in 2 minutes. Please come back with me.
Why were you begging them?
I could tell that there was 50 guys that are about they're having confrontation. It was scary. It was not a good scene, and I knew that nothing good could come out of it. So I was just kind of begging them to, leave the area. Let's go back home. Let me drop you guys off.
At some point, when you were sitting on the curb area, what was drawn? Did Will, Keenan, and Dimitri come and sit down with you and join you on the curb?
Yes.
When Tyler and Lito, as you indicated, denied or objected to going home with your sister, where do you recall them going?
I just remember I offered them the ride multiple times, and they declined, and it seemed like they had just disappeared. They ran off.
At some point, well, withdrawn. Was Jack's car still in the area at that point?
It may have been. I don't remember exactly where, but definitely somewhere down the road.
Do you have a recollection of Tyler and Lito getting back into Jack's car and going back towards Tyler Rich's house?
I just remember them leaving. I don't remember if they walked down there or drove their car down there.
When they left the area, who was left where you were?
It was me, Keenan, Dimitri, and Will.
When you were sitting there waiting for your sister to show up, did you hear anything at all from down the street near Tyler Rich's house?
I heard noise, but I had been hearing noise and, loud talking or shouting all night. So I just assumed that it was the same thing.
From your vantage point and sitting on the curb area down Laurel Glen, if you were to withdrawn, did you look down Laurel Glen towards Tyler Rich's house? Did you see anything going on? Were you able to see anything from your vantage point?
I didn't see anything. I also wear glasses or contacts, so I just don't think we were really looking at in that direction. Me, Keenan, Dimitri, and Will were maybe a little bit in conversation.
And at some point, did your sister come pick you up?
Yes.
And your sister's name?
Madison.
And when Madison came to pick you up, did anyone else get in the vehicle with you?
So she pulled up at the end of the road. I got into the passenger seat. Keenan and Dimitri got into the back, and we were waiting to see if Will needed a ride home. He was on the phone with his girlfriend, trying to get in contact with her to see if she would pick him up instead.
So Will did not enter your sister's car?
No, he was waiting near the passenger door next to me.
Did your sister wait before his girlfriend came to pick him up, or did you leave the area before that occurred?
She was waiting to see what he was going to do.
And indicate again where you got into your sister's car and where Keenan and Dimitri got into your sister's car?
I got into the passenger seat, and they got into the second row in the back of me.
So Mackenzie, I'm showing you stage 44. This is a video taken. You can describe to members of the jury, well, indicate if you recognize your sister's car at all, and if you recognize or if you see Jack Snyder's car at all. I'm going to play it through once, okay?
I believe that's Jack Snyder's car passing from the one in the front, and then
Laurel Glen.
blowing up. Yeah,
And that car that just stopped right there, whose car is that?
that's my sister.
Is that when you and Dimitri and Keenan got into your sister's vehicle?
Yes.
Do you recall this happening?
Yeah, we had gotten into the vehicle. As I said, I was waiting to see if Will needed a ride home, and we were connecting to the Bluetooth.
Now, Mackenzie, at some point, did anyone else get into your vehicle at that moment or that shortly after that moment?
Yes.
Okay. And, excuse me, who else got into that vehicle?
At one point, Lito maybe came from behind the car, and he kind of came up to the window, the passenger seat window, and he asked quickly to my sister, he said, "Hey, Maddie, can I get a ride home?"
Was that before or after Jack's car drove off as you see it?
I think after.
Now, he came up to your passenger side window or Madison's passenger side window?
To my window.
And he asked your sister through your window if he can get a ride home?
Yes.
When you were withdrawn, how was the lighting at that point? Were you able to observe Lido? Did you observe any injuries on him? Did he look like he had just been in a fight? If you can explain.
He quickly came up to the window, and I didn't observe anything. I didn't observe him looking like there was any like marks or anything on him. And then he just quickly got into the back seat.
When he got into the back seat, did he sit directly behind you?
Yes.
And at some point, did your sister Madison drive off from out of the area to take the individuals in her car home and also bring you home with her?
Yes, we were facing away from Tyler's house, and we drove, continued to drive that way.
So down Laurel Glen?
Yes.
Withdrawn. Well, down Laurel Glen towards Farmhouse, or did you turn around and go back towards Adams, towards Tyler Rich's house?
We did not go back towards his house. We continued going, I guess, towards Farmhouse. Yeah.
Now, on the car ride back to everyone's designated houses, explain or describe the atmosphere in the car. Was there music playing? Were people talking?
So we had the music playing pretty loudly. There was no talking in the back, or none that I heard. I didn't hear anyone talking in the back. I was already kind of in a bad mood, so I was just kind of sitting in the front.
When you say the music was playing loudly, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Was it so loud that you couldn't even hear your sister talk? Explain the loudness.
It was pretty loud, I would say. We normally play the music pretty loud in the car, and yeah.
Did you recall hearing Lido say anything in the car?
No.
Did you have any conversations with Lido?
No.
And why not?
I was very angry this night because I didn't want to go to Tyler Rich's house. Once again, I had a lot of friends that were there, so I just didn't want to get involved during the middle of it. So I think I was just very upset that we had been there, so there was no conversations really going on.
And who did your sister drop off first, if you can recall?
Keenan and Dimitri, they were staying together at one of their houses.
And then at some point, after your sister dropped off Keenan and Dimitri, it was you and Lido and your sister left in the vehicle.
Yes.
And was there conversation, and withdrawn, where does Keenan and Dimitri live? Whoever's house you went to, do you recall where they live, what town?
I think Trumbull.
Now, going from Trumbull back to where Lido lived, do you recall what town Lido lives in?
Milford.
Going back from Trumbull back to Milford, where Lido lived, was there conversation in the vehicle between you and him, your sister?
No.
It was silent.
Yes.
Do you recall how long it took your sister to go from Trumbull, from Keenan's house, to Lido's house?
I would say 15 minutes max.
And what happened, withdrawn, did your sister indeed get to Lido's house?
Yes.
And what happened when you got to Lido's house?
He then asked me if I could step outside with him.
Out of the car?
Yes.
And did you indeed step out of the car?
No.
And why not?
I didn't want to talk to him.
And when you refused to get out of the vehicle, what happened next?
He just left.
And your sister left?
Yes.
Mackenzie, while you're in the car ride from Laurel Glen to drop off the kids in your car, did you receive any FaceTime calls or any Snapchat messages from friends of yours?
So on my way back home to my house, I got a text message from a group chat with girls that I went to high school with.
Now, without telling us what they said, just tell us the vibe of what it was.
It seems like someone had heard that there was a fight. So there was maybe rumors going around. Someone said, there was talk about a stabbing, that someone had been stabbed.
Were these friends of yours that were local, or were these friends of yours that were in upstate New York at the prom house, as you indicated earlier in your testimony?
They were at the prom house.
Prom house. These were girls that were in upstate New York that had heard about what had happened at 43 Laurel Glen.
Yes.
And did you receive any other messages from anyone else?
So initially, after that message, we had a little group FaceTime call, and I guess everybody was just confused. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't believe that anything had happened. We were like, there's no way that something like that could have happened. So I even was like, I just dropped him off. I don't believe that could have happened. What then started to make me nervous was I received a Snapchat from Rosie McGrath and Peyton Keeman. And when I went to go look to see what they had said, it seemed like there was some foul language, and that definitely made me. I was nervous. I didn't know what was going on, and I was confused why they were reaching out to me.
Did you respond to that Snapchat message?
No, I didn't open them.
Now, in addition to dropping Lito off, in the car ride home from Lito's house, so after you dropped Lito off, in the car ride home to Lito's house, did you engage in any text message conversations with him?
So when I received that phone call from my friends, as well as from Rosie and her friend, I immediately texted Lito and I asked him what was going on.
And why did you ask him that?
Because in the messages from my friends, they indicated that there was a rumor going around that he had been in a fight and that he had stabbed someone, and people were throwing around names to see like who had maybe been involved.
May I approach counsel, Your Honor? May I approach the witness, Your Honor? Oh, yes. May I approach the clerk, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you. Mackenzie, may I approach the witness, Your Honor? Mackenzie, I'm showing you what's been marked as states 97 and 101, right? For purposes only at this point, right? You recognize that document, and there's several pages of that document, but do you recognize that?
Yes,
Okay, and what do you recognize that document to be?
these were text messages between me and Lito.
Now, do you know the defendant's number offhand as you sit here today?
No,
Okay, and at some point, did you have an opportunity when you started dating Lito to exchange phone numbers with him?
yes,
And when you exchanged phone numbers with him, did you put a name, you got the phone number, did you put a name associated with that phone number?
yes,
And what name did you associate his phone number with?
Lito.
And at times while you were when you were dating him, did you have opportunities to text message him, have phone conversations with him? And when you did you access this number under the name Lito in your phone?
Yes,
And these text messages you see here, when were those text messages produced?
after I had dropped him off on the way home to my house.
Now, in looking at states 97 through 101 in the text messages, is there a back and forth conversation between you and Lito at this time?
Yes,
I would ask to be marked as a full exhibit, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Court will accept into evidence as states full exhibits 97 through 101.
showing you what's now been marked as full exhibits 97 through 101. Well, actually, you know what? Hold on. I'm showing you here what's been marked as exhibits 97 through 101. In looking at 97, can you see that clearly on your screen? I know it's a little blurry.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in looking at 97, you see
It's a little blurry now.
what about now?
Yeah, that's good.
Autofocus. One moment. That works better. Okay, can you see that on there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the blue writing that you see there, whose handwriting, or withdrawn, whose text messaging is the blue?
That's mine.
And the white that you see there in States 97, whose is that?
Lito's.
Okay. Now, Mackenzie, I'm going to ask that you read, I'm going to read your parts into the record and publish it, and you are going to read Lito's parts into the record, okay?
Okay.
So in States 97, you indicate, and you said you contacted Lito first?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicate, are you fucking serious? I hate you. Someone just called me and said you stabbed someone. You just ruined everything, Lito. Literally ruined everything for me. Answer the phone. IDK, what to do? Everyone is texting me. What does IDK mean?
I don't know.
And if you can read Lito's parts, please.
I didn't do anything. I wasn't there. Stop texting anyone. Stop answering.
Now I'm going to show you States 98, which is a continuation of the text messaging. Can you see that clearly on your end?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to read your parts. Lito, everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows you're my boyfriend. And what does Lito said?
I know.
Then you say, Lito, everyone's texting me. What does he say?
Stop answering what happened.
And you say, don't talk to me. And what does he say?
Okay, stop answering anyone.
And then you say, you fucked up, Lito. And what does he say?
How? I wasn't there.
And then you say, if my parents find out. Showing you States 99. Can you see that clearly?
Yep.
Stop saying that, you said. And then what do you say?
Okay, stop texting, please, Kens.
And then you say, I'm not texting anyone. And then what does Lito say?
Don't text me. I'm going to Florida.
And then you say, they're texting me. When? Lito, I need you to answer me, please. And what does he say?
What, Kens?
And then you say, I'm so scared. What's going on? Showing you States 100. In the blue, you say, I'm shaking. Can you please tell me? I won't tell anyone. I swear. And what do you say?
I can't text anything.
And then you say, I'm so scared. And then what does he say?
I wasn't there.
And you say, what's happening? And then what does Lito say?
You know I wasn't there.
And you say, I'm so scared, Lito. What's happening? Please answer me. And then you say,
Nothing is happening.
withdrawn. Lito says.
Nothing is happening.
And then finally, States 101.
Nothing is happening.
And then you say, can you call me please when I get home? And he says,
Yes.
and then you say, Lito, his sister just texted me. I'm so scared. I don't want to look. And you said,
What did she?
Lito says,
What did she say? Swipe it.
and then you say, IDK, I don't know. I'm so scared. And Lito says,
Don't answer anyone.
now, Mackenzie, prior to you text messaging Lito, did he ever mention anything about going to Florida before you went to the party at Laurel Glen or anything at all? Going to Florida on vacation or going to Florida the next day?
No.
So the first time you heard about him going to Florida was in these text messages.
Yes.
After this text message conversation with Lito, did you have any other communication with him?
As I was still in the car, I called him. He answered, and for about less than 2 minutes, I continued to ask him what was going on. I'm hearing all these things. What's happening? What's going on?
What was his response?
He said, I wasn't there. I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
So he kept denying that he was there, kept denying that he did anything.
Yes.
And this phone call was before or after you arrived at your house?
It might have been I was still sitting in the car in the driveway.
And for how long did it last for?
It was under 2 minutes, and I remember hearing voices in the background.
You were hearing voices in the background. Did you recognize those voices?
No.
Mackenzie, when was the last time you saw Alito prior to today?
That night.
Now, after the text messages with Alito and also the brief conversation you had, did you realize at that point the severity of what occurred at 43 Laurel Glen?
I was in shock, but I also didn't fully believe that something bad had happened. I now at this point was thinking to myself there must have been a fight between boys, like a fist fight, and maybe a bunch of kids got kind of beat up or black eyes and stuff. I didn't even think that anything else could have happened.
Mackenzie, I'm going to show you a photograph which has been marked as States 57. Mackenzie, do you recognize who this person is in this photograph?
Yes.
And who is that person?
Jimmy McGrath.
And are you familiar with Jimmy?
I grew up with Jimmy.
And at what point, Mackenzie, did you learn about what happened that night to Jimmy?
When I had gotten home, I went to bed. I figured I'd wake up in the morning and it would have died down, or, if there was a fight, something would have died down. And I was woken up in the middle of the night. The police wanted to come question me. So I went downstairs to my kitchen table with my sister. And I remember my parents went to the door to open it up for the police, and I just remember my mom screaming. And then at this point, I was like, what's going on? Something seriously bad must have happened. Still, I didn't know the extent to what had happened. So they sat down. They just asked me about my day, like you're doing, about my night. And when they had left, my parents had told me that Jimmy had passed.
And what was your reaction, Mackenzie?
That was the worst news, the worst night of my life. I fell to the floor. My entire family fell to the floor.